Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm going to be helping you today with Geo Galleries. We're going to get it on from your setup to helping you start selling on Geo Galleries. So, first off, I just kind of want to go into what Geo Galleries is and give you a little bit of a description of that before you sign up. Hopefully, you're watching this video about that time when you're making that decision, you're doing your research on it. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will take a look at Geo Galleries. All right, so in 2019, Finalworks actually already had a gallery sort of set up, but it was looked a lot um, from a customer's view, like you're viewing your inventory files on Finalworks. So we were getting ready to start this gallery and offer it to our customers, who didn't really want to do a Etsy or Shopify, or found the integration a little more cumbersome than they wanted to, do, or sometimes maybe that upfront financial investment for your monthly charge on some of these sites was just a little, something that people were not quite ready to financially take advantage of. So we wanted to offer a website that still had our customers here at Fighterworks, a platform where they could sell online. We were getting ready with that, and then the the world changed. COVID hit, and many artists lost their in-person opportunities to sell, like art fairs, pop-ups, gallery shows. And selling online suddenly became really, really important. And we literally just kind of went with the wheels not tightened all the way up yet. We just kind of let it race out. And it helped a lot of people that really needed that. A lot of people got onto their Instagrams, their social media, did lives directing people to their geo galleries to go ahead and buy. So it served that need. And the way geo galleries works is there's no initial investment up from you, and it works entirely with virtual inventory. And if some of these um, terms sound unfamiliar to you, don't worry, we're going to get into them. But the thing is, you go ahead and you load up your art. You own all rights to your art. You then create the inventory that you want people to buy from. Some people are very protective about the presentation of their art or photos in print. So Geo Galleries lets you go ahead and basically create that piece of work that you're willing to sell out there. And it sells it for 3 times the cost. So let's say the print costs you $10 for an 8x10 at Finalworks to make. It's going to retail it at 30. Okay. And you don't have to really worry about the customers. If people come and find it on the site, they buy, the order goes to Finalworks. Finalworks does the order fulfillment. It ships it out, does all the drop ship part of that. And then 30 days from the sale, you receive payment via PayPal. Currently, PayPal is the only wallet system we're using to do payouts. So, to be a participating artist on this platform, you do have to have PayPal. Maybe as the site grows, we'll go ahead and look at other ones. It still has it's still in its infancy, really, as far as the site goes. And so you have these pages there for you to kind of have your work, send a link, have people online. And the great thing about this is you're no longer selling at a local market, you're selling on a global market. And I think that was a hindrance actually for a lot of people with their pricing. They were pricing themselves for what their local market would bear. So we hope, like I said, we hope to get a wallet system that'll come in later, and we can look at different forms of payouts. But right now, you'll need that PayPal. And the products that Geo Galleries does on here are going to be wall hanging art. So that's anything from your fine art papers, your metal, your canvas, your wood pieces, framed pieces on here. And we'll take a look at just somebody's art here. So you'll see that these are framed prints, fine art paper prints, and that's the items that you'll find on Geo Galleries. While Fineworks does print stickers, mugs, pillows, you're going to find that most people will buy those in bulk or volume just to take advantage of the volume discount that we have, because then they're able to set it at a price that can be uh, it's affordable to their customers, and it is going to give them a profit margin that returns something. So unfortunately, what we were finding when we were offering mugs and cards and stuff like that on Geo Galleries is that you're only going to get a one-off, so the volume discount isn't there. So somebody is not really going to find the value in purchasing a folded 4x6 card for $5 shipping, and then if they're in the state of Texas, taxes. So those items have been removed. So right now, that's what we support, are basically anything you can have ready to go hang on the walls, or people can make a print and go have it framed and hung. So now, how to get a Geo Gallery seller account? Okay, you're gonna create an account on Fineworks, not on Geo Galleries. If you create an account on geogalleries.com, you've basically created a buyer account, and your username is going to be part of your URL, and your email is associated with your account. So if you went that route first, just contact us at customercare@fineworks.com and request that we make that buyer account inactive. Basically, we'll probably put old or delete on the email, and we'll go ahead and it lets you recreate. Then once we send you a notification that yes, it's done, go ahead and you're going to go to fineworks.com, and that is where you're going to set up your account. And when you do Fineworks, you're going to find, let's see, when you go to Fineworks and you start to register for an account, which you'll see right up at the top there. Now I'm just going to double check this. You're going to get an email, an activation email. If for whatever reason you don't get that activation email, again, just customercare@fineworks.com. Let us know you never got the email to activate. Please check your spam folder first. So that is going to get you all set up, and you're going to have a Fineworks account. Okay, make sure when you're creating that username that you don't use any spaces or special characters. I believe you can use the underscore, and that's fine. But I would go ahead and just try to think of it as one big web name, okay? And once you have the account, you will now go into basically integrating by simply accepting the license. And as you are connected, as we're connected with Fineworks and GeoGalleries, you don't have to do any major linking like integrations as you would with other parts of the site. For instance, if you go into our fulfillment, you'll see our integrations with other online e-commerce platforms like Etsy and Shopify. And there's basically you link your accounts together, and then you've got to marry each item that you're selling. So it is cumbersome. I'm going to tell you though, no matter what platform you go, setting up inventory is always a little bit cumbersome. So don't let it discourage you. You're just going to kind of want to mull through that. Okay. So let's go ahead. Once you've created your account, and you'll go in there and we'll log in. Let's go in before. And you're going to come to your Fineworks dashboard here. You have some buttons here on the left-hand side and some right here that are kind of like the most often and used buttons, and you'll go ahead and get onto these here. To get onto Geo Galleries, you'll notice when you first start your Fineworks account, you have this image down here. It says Geo Galleries, connect to Geo Galleries. So if you go ahead and collect that right there, this is where you're going to put your title and your email associated with the PayPal account we're going to send to you. Don't use your PayPal me link, okay? Because that won't work. We actually need the email that it has to go to. This is the licensing agreement here. Originally, when we made some updates, we were going to send out another one, but we actually have within the licensing here that we can make the changes. You used to have a range that you can, but now we only sell it 3 times the amount. So there isn't a retail price scale anymore. Um, so for those of you who were familiar with Geo Galleries and are returning and you're seeing some differences, that's going to be the main difference you're going to notice. Once you have read your licensing, you're okay with it, again, tells you that you retain the rights to all of your art. You're basically just giving us the okay to print the order as the orders come in. And like I said, in most cases, you would be pushing these orders over. Geo Galleries as the entity will be pushing the orders on your behalf. So that's why the licensing agreement is there. Plus, we are the platform selling it. Once you've done that, you'll hit I have fully read and acknowledge the above items, and you will hit join. Oops, I'm sorry. I haven't done any of this stuff on here yet. Let's put Leo's gallery, and I will put whatever. We'll have that, and then we hit join. That'll pop up on here. Okay, and you'll notice now you're back at your dashboard, but that thing has disappeared, and you now have a Geo Galleries auto sign and go to my account. You can go to your account 2 ways. You can click on there and that'll take you to your account. Also on the left-hand side, you now have another drop-down menu called Geo Galleries. And this will take you to the Geo Galleries dashboard, your collections, the page as your customer sees it, and your My Sales. Okay, let me go ahead and log out of here. And let's go into an account that's already made. So like I said, you'll have those 2 drop downs. Here's Geo Galleries. And then down here at the bottom, go to my Geo Galleries. You also have, once you start making sales, another icon here will appear called My Sales. That'll take you to your Geo Galleries dashboard. But right now I'm going to go and jump us over while inventory will let you, basically everything is going to be available on both dashboards. But if you go ahead and click on Geo Galleries, you're going to notice it's going to look pretty much the same, except right up at the top, the logo has changed, right? And on your tab, the Geo Gallery icon is now available. Now we're going to get into what you got to do to set up. You got to have your artist page. So let's take a look really quick again at Geo Galleries here. And what we're first going to do is work on your artist page, this part right here where people see everything. And there's going to be 2 places that you're going to actually want to do 2 profile things, your business profile and your My Profile. Let's go to your business profile first. Okay, you want to put your name. If it's just your artist name, that's how you basically do everything. If it's under like, I don't know, Locks and Hearts art, you might put that there. It'll show up down there. But here, contact your first name. That's going to help me when I see you guys that I have a name for the account, then I know how to get a hold of you. You want to make sure if you have a URL, right? Like if you have a website that you're already have an expanded view of your art, has your shows, maybe it's just, it's where you want to direct all of your things to. You can put that in here. If you don't, you can go ahead and put even your social, if you want to put your Instagram account. If you have done a link tree on your Instagram account, you can put your link tree there because you only get one active link on your web page. Okay, this is what the city and state will appear here that you are in, or country, and then that link will be active to click right there. Okay, and again, you're going to mark that you're independent traditional artist. That's where that comes in, right down here somewhere, right here. Here we go. Traditional artist. So this is what's filling out as you're doing. this thing under your business profile. The other thing is if you have a logo, again, like we have several artists that do have their own logos, that will appear in this section here. Okay. And that's where your logos should go. The business profile you're only going to want to fill out completely is if you're going to go ahead and have a Shopify and Etsy on top of Geo Galleries. And we do have a number of artists that have multiple platforms they sell on. Let me go to my account. Okay, so my account will go ahead and bring you back to your dashboard. Again, you're still in the Geo Galleries dashboard. So from here, you're also going to want to go to my profile. And this is going to basically let us get to your picture, your name, and this bio information. It can be anything you want. It doesn't even have to be this lengthy. In here, again, you would see where your passwords and stuff like that, your username. If you have decided you don't like that username, which is going to be part of your URL that you see up here, where it's www.geogalleries.com/Tim Olson Art, right? So if you don't like the name that you picked or something like that, want to change it, I would do that early on, because once you start publishing and everything, Google's going to start noticing your site. The change when we do it is immediate on your login. It can take up to 24 hours on the URL. However, I do see it change quickly within that few minutes. So, but if you have links on other places that had used your old URL, you will have to change those. And as I said, it may Google, if you go search your name and you have been using it for a while, it may take a while until you establish for Google to say that, okay, this site has changed and it recommends the new site URL. The way to expedite that is basically go put the new link on as many spaces as you can, your social platforms within, like, go mention it in blogs, go mention it on comments, whatever you got to do just to kind of give it a little more I want to say notice for those spider engines. I'm sorry, I do not have a huge technical background. And again, you want to go ahead down here, make sure your PayPal email is correct. Sometimes when people don't get their first payment, that's usually what has happened. Their email has something incorrect in there. The About Me section here is going to be what you see in here. It can be small. You don't have to give, your social security number and all detail. You could probably just say, what inspired you, or whether you're a formally educatedly trained artist, if you're basically trained from experience, and no route is more significant than the other, really, honestly. And I've been working with galleries here in San Antonio and Austin, and it's not, for collectors, that's not any big deal, whether you're classically trained and formally trained in education to get a degree in art, or if you have just become an artist out of experience. So just put here, sometimes it inspires others. I also suggest in here is to go ahead and maybe use your Instagram. While it's not a clickable link, people can copy and paste it on there. So I put it in two ways. I put it as the handle, and I put it as a URL in case people just want to copy paste it into their search browser or into their the URL address bar. Sorry. So that's where you're going to do that. Again, upload your photo here under Manage Portrait. And this will create this intro page that you have. Now, on the next part, we're going to cover upload your quality images. That's the next frontier on this thing. First, the image should be print ready, high resolution for the max print size you plan to sell. If you have never used Fine & Works, I highly suggest you order a sample starter kit here. And the URL is pretty easy to find. Let me just show you how to get to this. fineandworks.com. Go to printing up at the top left here. And then if you can, this drop down, go to the bottom right under samples, order a sample kit. It is $20 and it comes with a $20 gift card that you can apply to your next order. Now, if there's things you're thinking about, like metal samples, those are an additional $10 right there. And you can either have them in the HD metals or the dye bond metal samples. If you go to Finerworks social, there's some examples there, and I can show you examples in a little while when we get into inventory of what the difference is. Now, with this, you're also going to get every one of our paper medias, a every one of our canvas samples, our card samples. Again, the cards are not sold on Geo Galleries, but it's good to have in case you're ready to do some, wholesale. Maybe you're going to sell your art to a local gift shop that does artists and they actually take cards. This will be a good place to do it. There's also the calibration card in here, and the calibration card will let you set up your monitor and help you get your monitor matching our printers. So if you're really into color matching, that is going to be part of your your setup with everything to get that image ready for print. Note that some things like dye bond, the metal, anything with dye sub 2, you're not, and cards, you're not going to really be able to color match for. um, the color matching is going to come in our medias of the papers and the canvas. We do provide ICC profiles on finer work. So if you go under printing, for example, and go look at our fine art papers, and we scroll down and you get down here, you'll go ahead and you'll get that ICC profile to download. So if you're very adept in your photo editing software, that ICC profile is going to help you get that color matching going. The other thing is, I still, even though you do all of the especially when you're really, really concerned about color matching and you haven't used Fineworks, I do suggest order a few test prints and sell them locally as an artist proof or AP with a signature on it. If you are new to making prints, let's talk about images, because there are people who are brand new to the idea of selling their prints online of their art. Uh, so if you're very versed in this, you might want to skip over this part here, but these basics will help somebody going into printing. Um, let's see, if you have used Fineworks before, just start uploading. If you already know how to use your files, and they're there, just make sure you're uploading into your inventory and not your temporary files. Temporary files are purged after a year. Those files that you see on there, and we're going to come really quick back here so I can show you the dashboard and where that is. And let's look at, you'll see right there, you'll get an inventory file. You won't see it so much here on your Geo Galleries because Geo Galleries works with just your inventory files and not your temporary files. So if you go onto fineworks.com, go to the left hand side here, you're going to see temp files and inventory files. Okay. So like I said, temp files, I don't think I have anything here. Okay, we might, is just something that is going to be, it's going to be purged in a year. You don't need any reason to kind of come back to it. However, your inventory files here will be associated with all of your products. And you'll see at the top right, you have that product link up at the top with a little gift icon next to it. So that icon will get you in there. And we'll get ready to talk about that in a minute as we go into the whole, step-by-step details of inventory. So like I said, if you're familiar with it, you've done, if you already had a Fineworks account, you're just attaching your licensing and you have just start work from your inventory files here. Start making those that you want to have on sale on Geo Galleries. Maybe you already have them selling on Shopify. You're just going to make them active on Geo Galleries. And we'll show you that in a minute too. Images also should be saved as RGB, 300 DPI, and they can be JPEG. And as you'll see, the JPG, JPEG, the PNG files, a TIF, a TIFF, TIF, and .bmp file. And you want to make sure your file size is about 240 megabytes, okay? I also suggest like I said, uploading at your max size print. And if you don't know what that means, we'll get ready to talk about that in believe, our next slide. So let's talk about, for those of you who have never done printing and you want to go ahead and start. The first thing that you need to do is going to be, it's going to be how you make that digital capture of your image. If you're doing digital art, let's say on Procreate, you want to set your max size for your prints. So let's say you decide you want to do a 20 by 30 is what you want to sell in here. So you want to set it at 20 by 30 at 300 DPI. Before you start working on your digital masterpiece, because I know some of the presets are at 72 DPI and there's about a 5 by 7 when you go to print. And I know a lot of that DPI and image size is going to depend also on your iPad's processor and your storage space on there, which might limit your layers that you get to use in Procreate. So for those of you who are digital artists working on mobile devices, just make sure that you start there in checking the resolution, 300 DPI and the inches that you're doing. We also, I should have mentioned this too, your print size, we only work in whole inches, okay? So no halves, quarters, eighths should be added to your print. You want to make sure you're working in whole inch size. So when you're getting ready to set up those inventory files, you want to make certain that you are working in whole inches. Now, if you're a two-dimensional artist, let's say you're working with paintings, oil paints, watercolors, acrylics, and I guess even acrylics sometimes can get into the point of where it's almost 3D because some of y'all use really thick paint and you create these really great pieces that actually protrude from the canvas far out. So you might not be able to use this technique. But for those of you who have a flat surface of paper or canvas that has no protrusions out, anything under 11 by 14 inches, I suggest any 1200 DPI scanner. I've used an Epson XP440 with great results. If you can scan at 1200 DPI, this should give you almost 4 times the original size when you bring it down into a 300 DPI file to get set up for printing. And it gives you the ability to go larger should you want, if you do not have a scanner, try Office Depot. I just suggest asking them to verify it is a 1200 DPI. When I scan, I find that the TIFF files tend to get the color best for me, and I don't have to do as much editing in the color. So that would be the thing to make sure that you do that, is that you take the color that file size, just so you don't have to work so much with color matching. If you have larger art, and you can do it by either having it photographed, and even the photography of larger art has its limitations. If you have someone working with a DSLR, which is like a 35 millimeter when we work back in film, you're going to have only so many pixels to work with when they shoot the piece as a full frame. That may cause may cause you not to get the highest resolution if you decided to go to that size, because what you've done is shrunk your image. The way to go ahead and say, if you have a 4 feet by 5 feet painting and you wanted to be able to make prints of that in a 4 foot by 5 foot, you want to go ahead and take images by section. Sometimes you can go take that to be scanned at a large format scanner if you have some available. Most places, I think it's about 18 by 20 on some businesses. There are some places that do have, I believe, up to 6 feet. This just allows a better scan without having to go through the process of what we call stitching. Now, there is a technology that we have partnered up with at Finer Works called ArtZip. And if you go to the top under fulfillment, scroll down, you're going to see ArtZip here. And if you go to our YouTube, we have a whole video on ArtZip talking with the founder. It's awesome is that you can get your cell phone camera. You're going to hold it to the center of your art piece and take, by angling your phone, to take several images of your art. Once you do that, you're going to upload it to ArtZip. They are going to use their AI to basically do the perspective on it, I guess the skew perspective, and line that all up. And then they're going to give you a full thing that's made of all of these frames from the photo. So you're going to get a lot more pixels and more detail. And you're going to have to play with it. Like I said, the technology is still pretty new. And if you're trying to pick up very minutia detail, it's going to be how close you can get to that canvas and still capture it and capture detail. It's about $25 to get the download on that. And when you do that download on there, you're going to make sure that, you have a place to save it on there. It does have an editing software to it that you can go ahead and do cropping on there. However, I still suggest that you go ahead and take this into your photo editing software like Photoshop or Photopea to go ahead and really check the file before you send it up for printing. And again, you should always do a test print, okay? Even if it's taking a section of it and having it printed. So there's the info where to find that on ArtZip. So those are some ways on to get the capture of your piece. So let's talk now on how you're going to check it. Some simple math to check your print quality. As I said, upload for the max print size you plan to sell. You should have an understanding of resolution and aspect ratio. Okay, those are two things you really want to have down when you're getting ready to do some printing. So if you want to sell a 20 by 30 inch print, you will need it at 300 dpi. So if you multiply 300 times 20, that's 6,000. And if you multiply 300 by 30, that gives you 9,000. So your pixel count here would be 6,000 by 9,000 pixels. Just multiply the inches by 300. And I guess that'll give you what you should have. And when you're in your files, let's go ahead and look at one of these. Let's say you still don't know where on your stuff to find it. When you upload, this is where you're going to find your file dimensions here on your right. Under that product, that's where I click to get to this is your image settings tab. And you'll see your file dimensions there. Again, just divide that by 300. And that should give you your max inches. This one is, I believe we have it as a 17 by 20. Now, there is some people who will go ahead and say, I want prints that people can fit in conventional frame sizes. Again, we're going to get into aspect ratio with that. The great thing about Finer Works, what I like is, you can print in almost your entirety up to the full inches as the work is intended, and use these, not so common frame sizes and order custom framing. I think it just makes your art a little more unique. I think it makes it stand out from other people who are selling prints that are the standard sizes, because you want them to come back to you for something, there's something special, even if it's the dimensions. Going back to our pixel thing in reverse, let's say you have that you know what print size you want to do, you're just wondering how many pixels you will have to do to get that. You would just take let me see, you would take like 6,000, let's say you have 6,000 pixels and you see it, or like, let's look at this example right here. The 1908 by 4,032 pixels, right? You divide that by 300 and you'll see that will give me 6.36 by 13.44 inches. And again, I got to remember I have to work in whole inches. So I might want to do some editing on my image and go find, using the rulers, at keeping it at the whole inches. Sometimes what I do in Photoshop is I go File, New, Setup. Let's say I want it 16 by 20. 16 by 20 inches, 300 DPI, RGB. And then I'll go copy the file where it is. And normally it's way larger than that because it's at a 1200 DPI. I'm going to actually scale down. Scale down in your software is fine. Scaling up is not a true capture of, you're not making more pixels, you're stretching out those pixels, okay? It's still not going to have sharpness. So know that. I mean, the other thing with printers like Finer Works is they have AI in it that actually fills in dots sometimes. And so it guesses what the colors should be to go bigger. I play with at the most maybe 5 or 6 inches bigger than the optimal size, but that's as much as I feel comfortable. And that's a personal thing, and you will have to find that for yourself by, testing and on prints and stuff. So this is kind of covering pixel information, right? And just getting that image resolution. Let's talk about aspect ratio. Um, can't you can't get a square image and fit it into a short rectangle, let's say like a 3 to 2 aspect ratio, without cropping or leaving the white spot. Just the square is going to have to either to fill up that whole thing, crop the sides, and fill up the center, or you're going to have to leave it as a square and leave it here and have some space down at the bottom. So understanding your aspect ratio is going to help. What I have actually started doing with some of the files I'm saving, with, based on this chart here, has been that I'm saving with a file name like the title underscore 4 to 5. And it's a 4 to 5 thing. Let me see if I can increase this little graphic here so that y'all can see this a lot better. All right, so there's that graphic a little bigger here. So we're going to just look at some aspect ratios. The one that you most, if you're somebody who's very concerned about having prints in traditional print sizes that are kind of the frame sizes, I'm sorry. These are some aspect ratios. The 4:5 is going to probably give you the most here with stuff. You'll have the 8x10, the 16x20 to a 24x32. Note that 11x14 is not one of these 4 or 5 aspect ratio. 11x14 is kind of its own little animal there on the side, and you'd have to do the 22x28 would be the next size up. A 20x24 also, size down would be 10x12. A 5x7 or 7 to 5 is going to give you that 10x14, the 20x28. So if you're looking at that, your aspect ratios, that 4:5 will give you the most in those prints. If you decide to take that image and make it into an 11x14 or a 5x7, you're going to run into some cropping. So I would start, if you want to, maybe a 24x30 as your max size. Remember, multiply then your 300 dpi so you know how many pixels you need, and create your form. And then from that, you could make other prints on there. You can go ahead and have, it's just so you don't have as many. Let's take a look here. When you get into your collection, you don't want to have like set the widths full image, set the widths. You'd have to make different files for that. You don't want to have the image multiplied here several times. You want to be able to click on that image and offer different sizing options. Here's 8x13, 11x18, based on that, on your size. You want to be able to stay there and do your 8x10s all the way up to your max 16x20. So that's a good tip to have, is just knowing those aspect ratios. So this is also on our Finer Works Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, Finer Works, I actually have it saved on our tips up at the top where our stories are. This will help you with some of your creating your files. So just click on tips right there, and we'll see these stories will open. I think it's a little farther down on this. Let me see if I can jump ahead. There's that one on the pixels. And then there's going to be that one on the aspect ratios. So that will help you with those if you need to find them as well. That's a good place to have it. But if you're on Geo Galleries, on the Geo Galleries Facebook, the private group, this file will also be in there for you to download and have edit. And I will try to include this now into the new introductory letter for people coming in, and I'll try and send it out to the rest of the group so you all have this there. So let's go back here. So that's some of the aspect ratios that you need to know. And I think those will help you kind of determine your print sizes. Going on with print quality images, color matching. And this part is where I am not as well versed. And so I suggest really doing some research on this if this is what you want to do. Now, for the color matching, you're going to want to first have the sample starter kit from FineWorks. And you want to have calibrate your monitor to FineWorks printers using that calibration card. Use the ICC profiles. Still do a test. I actually do a test on 8x10 or 5x7, depending on my bank account, and just slice a piece. Like I said, I'll have that 20x30 image ready file, and then I'll take my selection tool and pick a little piece, and then do another 8x10, 300 DPI, RGB. I'll put the file slice in there from, like I said, selection, copy, come over to the new file, paste, and leave a sliver in there. And go ahead and send the 8x10 off order. And I just take maybe a section that has more detail, or I'm concerned about the color, and I'll look at that. If, that's just something to be a little economical, if that's how you want to do your test print. So like I said, I would search. There's a lot of stuff out there to help you learn calibration. I've known some people who've already gotten in and have invested in a spider, which is like a device that goes on your monitor to help you calibrate. So let's start on how to create inventory. I'm going to kind of walk you through some inventory options for paper, canvas, metal, frame prints. You will create these in our print online setup tool known as Post. So I'm going to show you that as well. There is a batch tool that will allow you to make some of the media and layout for multiple images. So if you're making a 20x30-inch print on photo rag with a 1-inch border, and you want that offered on every single image, there is a way to do that without having to individually go into everyone and build it. And I'll show you that little workaround. Then you can easily apply that to all these multiple images. Note that you are able to use these inventory items on either other sites like Etsy or Shopify with a SKU or product code number. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where this screen is and how we're going to get here. Okay. So we're going to be logged in. Let's go back again to your inventory files. Let's just start right here. The place you're going to want to click into one, let's start with this one, is here. And what you want to do is, I want to tell you also, no, my inventory and inventory different. And my inventory is every item you've created. That's why it has that little gift box thing here, just like you saw in the front. And inventory are your actual files under file management. Okay. So just note that difference, because it is a question that comes up quite a bit. So you've uploaded your images. They are there. You're going to start making products. We're going to kick this product virtual inventory. Okay. Now you'll notice on this one, we actually already have some inventory there. And again, this has been redesigned as of July of 2022. It came out on an update here to manage your products. You're going to notice that you have inventory options. Let's click that. And you'll see in stock. So this is not something you need to worry for Geo Galleries. These options here might be some places where you have to tie your inventory items, and they might require that the place that you're tying it actually has an in-stock number. That's where you'll use that track inventory to kind of keep giving you that counter. So that's great if you're maybe using the API. Let's see. So we're only on Geo Galleries. Let's see. Name. If you've given your file a name on here, so you can look for them. This is just, this will come up when you're using my inventory up at the top and you want to try to find certain thing. It's just another thing you can do by titling this on here, or maybe you know it a different way or sell it a different way. Like you might call these We call them framed acrylic prints, floating frame. You might just call it float frames, and that's how you sell it on your website. Then you would want to put the names in there so you could find them easily. Deselect that. Custom description. If you want to go ahead and add that custom description, you can grab it here. This means you can get in here and change this on here, I believe, right there. You go in. And this is if your description has to, I guess, meet up with whatever identifiers are on a different site. Date added. If you really are trying to sort through your inventory by when it was added, you could click that date added here and it would do the sort. So those are kind of like search help, and you'll see that the search bar is right there. So the other thing on here with our inventory, let's take a look at this. You're going to see a thing price. This is your cost on what the product is. You have the buy now option. You can go ahead and for some people, they make, I want to say purchases to do maybe at a pop-up of their inventory. So you can not have to build it all over. You can buy that inventory item, just hit the buy now. That'll take you to your shopping cart. When you're making purchases for yourself, you want to make sure you're in that Finer Works dashboard because you're going to get your volume discount on here. Whereas if you're in Geo Galleries, you won't get that volume discount. So make sure if you're going to be using that buy now, you do have that. The other option here is you hit your options and you get this drop down. The setting info, that's going to take you to the image settings tab. Modify and post, that's that our dashboard that lets you do all the sizes. So that's if you want to make a crop change or you want to maybe go ahead and scoot it around, change the frame color. That's what this would do in here. Go to file. This again will take you to the front of the files. Uses a template. This is really cool when you've want to go ahead and have added new files and you want to apply the same design to them. You would just go grab the last one you have, hit use as a template, and then add the images in there. Use as a template, add new inventory item to shopping cart. Remember, the top one is going to give you virtual inventory only. And this is if you want to say you have a file that you're not going to make available online, but you want to be able to make some prints right now from it using the same design. Maybe you have a framing option that you like. You could use that, and then it'll make the item to go into your cart. So that's pretty much it. And then they got the delete option right here. Okay, so, oh, and that may be, when you collect here, you also get this delete selected. And that's another way, I guess, of deleting, but deleting on there off of the option button is probably the best way to go. This is great if you want to do multiples. Is that you would have this, but remember, once you delete it, you cannot bring it back. I think that's, I had an artist in who had asked the other day about something. I think that's what he might be talking about is once I delete the item on here, you cannot bring back your deleted item. You'd have to rebuild it. So let's go in on, you've uploaded your image, you've come over here. We're going to get ready to make some inventory. So I'm going to kind of go over making really like simple pieces. We're going to look at a paper print, a canvas print, and we'll look also at maybe the metal prints and framing on this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, create new item, print product. So we start here. I think I said this was 17 by 20. So let's go with our fine art paper print, which is under the product type. Again, here's where you would put that title if you decide you're going to name this particular item you're creating. For this one, let's go into, I think everything I have is on archival mat. So we'll do something on Hamamil Photo Rag Metallic. I want this one, because it's just going to be a print by itself, to have that extra 1-inch border all around, maybe even 2-inch border. Now let me explain the border options for those of you who are, again, new to printing. The image will stay at the 17 by 20 as I get ready to select. But because of adding 2 inches all around, that's 4 inches on each side. So if it's 17, that would be 21 inches. And if it's 20, then it's 24 inches. So 17 by 24 will be the sheet size, the entire size of the paper, while the image will stay at 17 by 20. Does that make sense? Your image size is 17 by 20. Your sheet size, the whole paper, when it's done, will have that 2-inch border all around. So you're adding 4 inches. That makes your sheet size bigger by 4 inches of the image. Okay. If you don't, that doesn't make sense, just drop us a question. We'll help you with that. So like I said, we're going to make the width 20, the height 17. We're going to update that. And you're going to see here we have an example of thumbnail of what it looks like. Okay. And at that point, you will see the cost at the top right. That's $54. So when it gets ready to go on to Geo Galleries, it will be priced at 3 times that amount. So I think that's $162 for that. Okay. That's what the listing price will end up being. So you would save and add to inventory. Now, again, this is where it's good to have your paper pack and your sample. When you're getting ready to make all of these things, if you're not familiar with your paper, it might be great to go ahead and have this. Let me just stop sharing to see how well I can do this. So you can hopefully see this pretty good. I'm hoping my background is not going to mess it up. So you would go in and go take a look at your, mine I keep in a little handy dandy planner here. So let me go find this particular paper, which was the Hammermill photo rag. And I like it because it actually has this awesome metallic look that has this shine to it, which I think will be really cool in that space theme. So that's what I do. I make sure I look at that. Remember where that white border is, that's what's going to show on the paper. So sometimes you want to look and see something like that. You'll see this is not a, I'm trying to do this to where you can see through. I think I'll have to turn off my thing here, but that way I know what color is going to be surrounding on that white border. So now I know what that color is going to look through. And remember, printers don't print white, so it is the paper's natural color to show right there. Let's see. So that can be something into making your inventory. You would just go ahead, save to inventory. Now, before we had this update, you did have to come back into your products, go here and select under options, more, and do the price range. We no longer have that, guys, so you don't have to worry about doing that. I'm going to make certain that I just take this off because I don't know if this particular artist wants to sell her works on the mat right here. So here it is, that photo rag. And if you go in here, like I'm just going to enlarge this so y'all can see stuff because it's like incredibly hard for me to see it in my screen that small. So I'm going to go here, options, and just delete. Oops, delete. I don't know why it's not doing that. Okay, you would just delete that off of that if you didn't want it or you made a mistake. The next one we're going to do, let's look at a canvas thing. And let's talk about some things you want to know with canvas. Okay, let's go with our product type. And I'm going to stay on this metallic theme here on the canvas prints. And I'm going to go with a Silverado metallic canvas. When you get here to styles, you have different options. And if you're not certain about the options, I suggest going ahead, go to your finer works. That's why I have multiple tabs when I work. Go to canvas prints. And let's go to mounting styles here. This will be what you're seeing right here, style, that drop down. Personally, what I like is going to be thick, stretched, and mounted. I'll tell you why I'm not doing the thick gallery wrap on this particular one. So let's take a look at these mounting styles real quick. So you can order this as a canvas, mounted to different backings. Like here we have our that's not mounted. There is art board that we can mount it to. This basically lets you just have that feel of that canvas on there, but gives a really solid background. You have artboard mounted with extra thick. You have gator board mounted, and then thin stretch mounted, which is a thin stretcher bars. Um, Thin gallery wrap. Gallery wrap means the image is pulled to the side. So on a gallery wrap thin, 0.75 thick. Okay, that means in the depth, that means it goes into the image on there. So you have the thick stretched and mounted, thick stretch and mounted. So I guess it's on there twice, and thick gallery wrap. And again, with the gallery wrap, you see that it is 1.5 inch thick. Okay, so that means where the wraparound is going to go. Then you have our grand with solid sidebars there. You have, solid sides and your grand gallery wrap. I will let James know that those are duplicating down at the bottom. I don't know. There actually might be a reason for that, and I'm just not seeing it right off. But those are the different gallery wrap styles. So when you're making this, like I said, I'm going to pick thick, stretch, and mounted. This is going to give me sides on here. And so when you're doing thick gallery wrap, not get thick gallery, thick wrap and mounted, I'm going to get these like sides on here, and I'm going to give it the custom size because I want people to have it as something in its full intention. Oops. And it's not going to be something that they're just going to be able to easily find all over the place there. So let's take a look at this. So here is showing you where it's going to basically give us those guides for our canvas department to kind of cut those squares out and start folding this down. It'll give you the white size there. This will be on the side. It won't be white because I'm selecting thick, stretch, and mounted. However, that's if I want the canvas color side through it, which that silver rod is a little metallic. You can pick to go ahead and say, I want a black side, which it'll do there. I want it true black actually though. So I believe that's 000, but you can go ahead also, you can use your color picker here, the hex code here. You can grab that out of Photoshop. If there's a particular color you want to pick, you can also do it this way. Let's say we want to pick this orange here to be on the sides. You got to be kind of like detailed on what you're picking. There. Alrighty. And we'll update that. Sorry, I have something hiding my thing there. Let me take that off. Okay. I just right-clicked and that deselected it, but I don't know why it's not picking up. There we go. Now I got it. So it's going to give me the sides with that color. Or like I said, if you have a hex code and you don't want to do all of that, and you have a hex code, you're able to put it in there. So you have options on how you want to do this color sides. And I just want to show you that too. So I'm going to get that all. All right. So the other thing you want to take into consideration with your files is where your signature goes on it. Some images are not going to lend themselves well to a gallery wrap. Gallery wrap's going to come into the actual image. And if your name is flushed right at the bottom and to the right or to the left, as long as it's flush to the edges, when you do a gallery wrap, what's going to happen is it's going to pull it and fold it under. If I did a gallery wrap in there, let's just take a look so that y'all can see what's going to happen here. Let's go into thick gallery wrap. Okay, we're going to do that custom size again. I'll even 17, 20, 17. I'm going to update. You'll see those guides are going to show you exactly where into the image you're going to cut. So you see all of these bison that are down here at the bottom. They will no longer be in the face of the canvas. They will actually be folded under. So as an artist's intent, you may not want that because you really want the whole thing showing. So you would go ahead, like I said, you make your piece here. I'm going to go back again, just put this back into the gallery. Custom size. This is going to take not the gallery, thick stretch a mountain. And redo my size again. So I hope that helps you understand making your canvas or canvas inventory and how to what to look for when you're doing those up there. Okay, so all of that is ready to go here. The other thing on here that I suggest taking a look at, if I can click on the right thing here. All right. Is going to be, it says optional. By default, your canvas will come then with our default backing. Let me show you that. Finishing options here. It will come like this. It is a black backing board. It's archival. It kind of gets an ATG kind of archival sealant that goes around and it's put on there. And then the hanging style here, the hardware, it just depends really on the size. Sometimes it can be a D-ring. It could be a sawtooth if it's a small little piece. That's at the discretion of the person doing the canvas, and that can change. So I have liked being kind of specific. Like I said, you do have this black black or white archival. You can just go ahead and do this D-ring with a wire hanger. The one I prefer and I love is it's $10 more onto your price on it, but it is the professional tape and wire hanger. You're able to see the canvas through, and I think people just really feel it's much more than a print. It looks like it looks like a real canvas. And depending on how well you did on capturing your image, it may look like a canvas piece. And you will have to tell people this is a fine art print. I never use the word reproduction. I just tend to say print because in galleries I was always told never to say reproduction, to not cheapen the art. This is not a Kinko's thing. And as you can see, there's so much in going to learn all of this stuff and understanding the quality of the media that your stuff is presented on. So for me, I'm going to go ahead here and select that professional tape and wire hanger. And in the top right, as all of this is being built, you're going to see your price up here, going from 101 to 111 right there. And again, it'll be sold at 3 times the amount once you hit save to inventory. This will be $333 for sale. Okay, so that I'm gonna not put this into inventory right now so we don't go into this whole mess of me having to delete out of this person's account. Let's go back into our inventory files. Again, just hitting on products to get back over here. Products virtual inventory tab. So now we've created a paper piece, a canvas piece. Let's look at if you wanted to add a frame to it. You can do a couple of different framing styles. And I suggest, again, if you're not familiar, you can go into our frames and mat, hit frames here. Take a look at our different collections. What I have told people when ordering, especially because it's for drop shipping, anything over 16 by 20 on the window, not on the image, okay? Because let's say you do a 16 by 20, but then you add a 2-inch mat around it, right? The image or the window is now larger than 16 by 20 because it has to accommodate that mat. I say go with a thicker inch frame, usually about 2 inches. So I'm going to click on there, and where you would find that information is just click on the here and hit information. This is a width of 1.94 on that molding, which is close to that 2-inch mark. So I'm fine with that. Once you start getting to 20 by 30, I would look at 3 inches on the molding. And then there's a max size. And when you go to the front, it'll tell you your max size on your moldings. 60 is usually, I think, max size on most of our moldings. It's also because of how the stick sizes come to us. So that's what we are kind of limited with here. And it's also where we're comfortable shipping on, because after that, going through shipping and transit joints on custom frame pieces, they sometimes it's just too much rattle. We do use different acrylic glass here, so it's not glass, it's glazing is what it's the proper worded to, because we don't use glass, we use an acrylic. And again, you can kind of come up to frames if you need informations on the acrylic glass. Here it is. I love acrylic conservation control. It is my favorite. It is the best to protect your art from the UV light, and it also offers I don't want to say non-glare, because even museum glass has glare. If you bend anything at the right angle, you'll find a glare on it. But this is very limited glare, and it almost doesn't look like there is a glazing on top of your art. So it lets it get presented well. I mean, if you're going to give somebody a frame, you might as well give them a very great custom frame that they're not going to get from anywhere else. So that's an option. We are looking into the option of letting customers offer themselves some frame, and they would pay it. Right now, if you offer a framed option and somebody buys it, you will get a 10% commission. So let's say that frame is $77, and you would get $7.70 added to your payout for that. So that is, let's go ahead and see how you do a frame. So first you got to do is go to your print products again. You got to create the print all over part here. So I'm sorry, we're going to create a print. I could use an existing one and do it, but if you're offering a print by itself, you have to do that. And then you're going to have to do the print again to offer in the frame. So on this one, let's do an archival map. You can stay borderless, and this is why. Framing department, what they're going to do is, even if you added a border on here, is they're going to cut it down to the image. And the mat boards will come in 1/8 over the image. So again, be mindful of where your signature is on your files. If you need to, I suggest coming up with a signature layer for your stuff, and you can position it. And so sometimes either having your stuff photographed before you're signed, or you can go into a photo editing software and take out your name and then reposition it. So I suggest here is the same for framing. Go borderless. We're going to go to the size, custom size, because that's the great thing with custom framing. You know, they don't have to, I can frame it up for them without them having to go buy one, spend an hour in doing that. And I'm sorry, sometimes these things are sticking. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Don't know if it will. Let me see. Hold on one second. I'm trying to see if I got rid of that now. Okay, there we go. And let's double check here. Okay, just making sure that y'all are seeing my thing here. Okay, great. So on here, I'm putting it the 20 by 17. We're going to update. Has it there. Now you get this frame and mat choices. So let's go ahead and click on here. I'm gonna go real easy for this one just so I can get this done. We're gonna go into my, and like I said, this is a 17 by 20. So it's already that 16 by 20 that I'm bigger than I want to go. So I'm going to order the thick on here. It's going to be this one. Matting. Let's say I pick the Snow White. Okay, this is single matte. If I want to do a double matte, you just got to come up above and hit double matte. All right, and let's say I want this to be a different color. We'll just go with the yellow. And I'm going to have to go play with the numbers there, but you'll see that I'm kind of fine with the default of what it's doing. It gives me the window sizes there. On the glazing, let's say I go ahead here with this conservation reflection control. And then it's all set, and I would just save it to inventory. You'll see it's at 205 up at the top right. Again, it'll be listed at 3 times that amount. Save it to inventory there. Or I can hit, let me go back. And let's say I like that framing choice. I want it on all of my frames, all of my images. I'm going to do batch print. Okay, and then I would select, let's just pretend that we're at the same aspect ratio on all of these prints, okay? Just for the sake of this example. So I'm selecting what images I want. I'm going to hit include selected. You're going to see them populate here on the left-hand side. You don't have to worry about the quantity thing. That's, again, if you're doing a shopping cart, but we're just doing inventory. But this will be that little bit of a time saver on applying it to everyone. And you can see it does this. So like I said, you're seeing cropping on some of these is because this was not aspect ratio. If you need to do something like that, you can click on the item and then here and just kind of move it around. That might make it a little better. Save changes. Take you back over there. Okay, so that looks a little better there. So you can do some of that and kind of nudge around on each one and then go ahead and save to inventory. Once you have inventory all set up in here, there's one thing you have to do to make it active for your customers to see on Geo Gallery. You'll notice here on the right that you'll see Geo Galleries and Shopify. This is because, again, our inventory is made to work across multiple platforms. So for your Geo Galleries, you want to go ahead and select the items that you're adding to your listing right here on the left, and the box will become active in blue with a white check mark. Then you'll want to come up here to the top, right next to Create New green button, where it says List at Geo Galleries, and hit this button. You will get this pop-up menu that will say success. You know, the item quality is eligible, product type, and were accepted by the Geo Galleries. If you try to do that with, say, the pillow, you might get the, let's go ahead and I'll take a look at that. The pillow, and if you hit list to Geo Galleries, you'll get nothing updated. Please make sure you have selected items for your virtual inventory that qualify as eligible product types, which are accepted by Geo Galleries. Because remember, as I said, we're trying to do only wall hanging products on Geo Galleries, but you'll need to make sure that is done. And let me get in and out and see if that button became active. So we'll come here, we'll come back here, and I don't see it. It says it's updated. Let's just double check on the image on the page. So we're going to go into Geo Galleries here on the left-hand side. Go to my page. I'm going to put that to pop in another tab. And okay, and again, that's why I kind of suggest having another tab open that has your Geo Galleries as customers see it. So we'll go ahead and click on here. And let me find here. And let's see if and it is. I see it popped up here. It may just take a second to refresh on your side so that you'll see that the item has a grayed out mark on there. But that is ultimately how you get your inventory item to show up on Geo Galleries. So now that you kind of understand some basics into doing inventory and where to go kind of on finer work, same thing with the metal prints when y'all want to go look at, here's the metal and the dye bond metal. And you can kind of look on about the differences on that. Just take a look at all of the different stuff. Now remember cards, specialty items like mugs, cutting boards, those are not supported for sale on Geo Galleries. Now, the other thing is getting your image active, right? So that it kind of shows up here in your collections and something that people can pick from, right? We got to make it here. When you first go on, you might have artist collection and it's just blank. You have keys to making your images active. Okay, there's things you have to do. First is, of course, that it has to be a high resolution file. Fineworks cannot print anything smaller than 4 inches. So you take 4 inches multiplied by 300 dpi, that equals 1200 pixels. And I wouldn't go under 1300 pixels. So it's not going to make that image active because it's not meeting that first qualifier of being high resolution. The next thing you're going to have to do is going to be update the title from your file name. When you get into your inventory files, we'll go back again here. And you have your thing, you click on this. By default, the file name that you see here is going to fill the title. It's going to say .jpeg. You might have numbers, image, 1111, whatever, .jpeg, or PixArt, whatever you have on here. Make sure you go ahead and change that name so that when a customer comes to look at a piece of work here, it presents as a title on your page that you would see here. Sit their wits. The other thing is you're going to need 30 character minimum description. Okay, and that's going to be right here. 30 characters. I'm going to tell you the thing when people have not come to their Geo Galleries and they come back to upload, the thing that is most likely going to give them trouble is going to be the file resolution and your description. Either this is not going to have 30 characters or your file resolution is too low. The other thing is to have it saying show. Don't worry about this rank thing right now. This is kind of, I think it will kind of help you with some sorting right now within your files. I haven't really played too much with that or seeing how it works in the update yet. Where we have talked about this becoming something for users to get kind of give you a ranking. But I think right now it'll go ahead. The order of your image should be listed in your collection. So it does right now, at least like if you have 6, you would go ahead and you want this to be number 6, you would just put it to like 6. And this is kind of hard because getting that small, 8, 6. Okay, you might want to use your buttons rather than your mouse. Then you have to go ahead and select a category here. That category is what you see here. And now I have a lot of people who ask for additional categories. What we found were these were some of the categories that most often are looked. If you start subcategorying in the categories, you might lose some of the people who could potentially buy. So you want to try and see if there's something that this could fit into your piece on here, maybe comedy, whatever you have on here, like not comic book, but I would say maybe even life, whatever, and something that you think would go ahead and make it, so that it shows up in a broader search. So think of it that way. You can go ahead and hit manage collections and start doing your collection thing, but you need to make a collection here. So you'll pick one. And if you have not, it's going to stay unassigned. And if you have nothing to select from because you've just started, update, save all of the stuff that you have already done, and take a second and go to manage collections. You can do that from that little button right there I saw, or if you want, you can go under Geo Galleries here on the left, if you're still on your final work side, and hit collections. It takes you here to the same page. And then here you would just make up something like, you know, miscellaneous, or if you had like a show and you want all of the works from that show, like, the NYC Art Show 2022. And then you can make that a collection as well. And then that will show up here. Now the collections as they appear here go in alpha order. And then, like I said, once you get in there, you can kind of move the rank around on there. All right. So that's going to help a little bit with sorting some of your images. And the rank had not been used like that in the previous release. So test it out, see how it works for you, and give us your feedback. We'd appreciate it. That's going to be part of it. That's the thing. So if as long as you have those things done, your image will populate here and start to be available for people to go ahead and search. The inventory you created will be listed there as thumbnails. This may change the drop-down menu and how those appear. James is not quite, excited about how this menu kind of shows up because you can't read it all the way. Once you click on it, let me see, $33, you'll see all the information really right there too. But he wants it something a little more presentable. So we'll see how he ends up changing that. Okay, so let's see. Price will be set at 3 times the cost, so you don't have to worry about going in anymore and setting any of that. Let me see. That was actually do not worry. But like I said, this is just for your sorting. I'm going to go ahead and put that now as a thing on here. Ranking is sorting. Is how your images will be sorted in the collection. Okay. Okay, so now that you got your collections going, you have inventory, you want to start selling. So start by announcing your page on your social, and your URL will be, like I said, at the top. Right here, we'll go to your page. It's right here. This will take you to your page. If there's a specific collection you want them to go to, you would click that. This will take them to the collection page. There's a specific image. Click the image up at the top. You'll see it says IMG and it has an image number. You would Control C, and that's where you'd make that link from. Note, I would use something like a tiny URL or a bit.ly to maybe shorten it on there, especially if you're doing something like Twitter or something where you have like Instagram, where it maybe doesn't let you get to a whole, it's hard for somebody to remember that whole long web address. And of course, then there's stuff like Linktree that helps you kind of have it in your bio. So that will help you with announcing it. And at this time, right now, there isn't a way to give what we are considered as secondary admins. James is like the admin because he does all of the work on there. We're secondary admins, so the access to Google Analytics and page tracking is not yet available to us. And hopefully, like I said, as the site grows and gets older, maybe we can come up with something that we can purchase so that y'all can have access to that, or to insert Google Analytics. At this time, it's not something that is available. So we went over on how to share your page, all the URLs, how to do the specific image URL. So with us not having the pricing range on there, like you see, you're not able to discount. It's not like you'd be able to say, okay, I'm going to have a sale on this XYZ item. Think of Geo Galleries as a brick and mortar gallery, and you dropped off your prints there to sell. And that gallery has already come up with a sales price that they're going to give you for your split, and they're going to do for the retail. You cannot negotiate a price and come in there. The way you could do something like that is to offer a sale on your Instagram, have maybe the images sent straight to you, and you're going to sign them or whatever, and then you're going to mail them out. at the discounted price, or you can have them drop shipped to the people on there using your Final Works account. That would be the best way to kind of do something discounted or special for your collectors. Let's see. On the website, the customer is actually responsible for their shipping. So they pay the shipping at the end. When they go to their cart, it'll tell them, to enter their address based on their, you know, different items that they've included in there. It'll come up with their shipping. It'll come up with an estimate. We give a flat rate basically, so we're not having to guess on it. So we lose a lot actually on shipping, but this is kind of like the best way that we could keep it so that it wasn't like shipping is so fluctuating on the price on, because you have to not only look at where it's going, you're actually got to look at dimensional weight, how the package is put together, how many different items. So if you cannot possibly predict how many different ways a person can order something, they're going to order it in fives, or they're going to order a whole bunch, it would be different. So, without being able to anticipate that, we've come up with our shipping prices. Again, you can go on to Finer Works if this is something you end up needing to know for, let's say, just just to tell people that this is where. Let me get this menu alpha here if I can. Um, Go to the bottom under Help, believe or no, I'm sorry, About Us. Go to Shipping Rates, and this is where you're going to find out information about our shipping thing here. Now, what I want to stress to you guys is shipping is not turnaround time. That's not when your delivery is going to be made. Delivery time is consist of your turnaround time for the product plus your shipping time. So framing, for instance, will take longer. And so if they put on here, if you go to turnaround time, this lets you see all of the different products turnaround times, which is usually 1 to 3 business days. But and during the holidays, this will take longer. So this is our 1 to 3 business days is what we, that means we are closed Saturday and Sundays. So nobody is here. We're not able to work on the products, and we're not having any pickups at that time. So 1 to 3 businesses. So if they put an order in on Friday, it'll be probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but it's finally done, ready to go out. And then a tracking will be sent to them. So they'll get tracking on it. So that's how the shipping works. And the customer pays for all of that. They decide if they want it overnight shipping or, but that's something to stress to them, is that they understand that overnight shipping is not 1 day turnaround time. Okay, so then the money. You are responsible for your state or region taxes on the payouts that we make to you. You do not have to make any, the taxes on the item being sold. The customer covers the taxes, and they only pay taxes if they're located in Texas where we are. So it's that is taken care of. Yours would be almost like an income stream, however you take care of that. And you'd actually want to go ahead and consult with a tax advisor in your region, because, we're good, but we don't know the taxes all around the world. So go ahead and contact somebody locally who can help you with your regional taxes. Like I said, your customer only pays taxes if they're located in the state of Texas. You get paid 30 days of the sale, as we mentioned in the beginning, via your PayPal. And that is to give the customer a time to get there and see the product and decide if they don't like it, and we would refund them. And you don't even have to worry about that. They would use the contact us through the gallery. And customer service at Finer Works actually would go ahead and issue that refund, or they will go ahead and have a new product sent out to them. Prints are, like I said, are now listed at 3 times. And here's kind of how that works. So if the cost, again, like we were looking at everything, is $8, and it will be set then at retail at $24. The admin fee to Geo Galleries is 10% of the retail price. So if it's $24, we would get, Geo Galleries gets $2.40 for that thing. Okay, cost of the print here. So this was used to be on the site, but let me just show you kind of how it breaks down. So the cost of the print was $8. The retail price is $24. The admin cost is at $2.40. So let's say this item sold. It's sold at $24. We're going to minus $8 to pay Finer Works to make the print. So now we're down to 16 bucks. We're going to minus the admin fee of $2.40. So the payout to the artist will be $13.60. Now, if the artist had a frame on that was cost, and you'll see the price is $120, then you will get, in addition to your $13.60 up here, you'll get 10% of that, which would be $12. So that's kind of the benefit of framing up some of the things on your geo galleries. However, we are looking at offering it to, when it's a print or maybe a canvas, to say, would you like to frame this up? And we'll come up with some maybe interface where they could do that. Right now, it's not available, but it is something that we are looking at. And well, again, we'll still have to decide then how we're going to do. I think it'll still get a 10% on there. So when that becomes available, we'll get it to you. The other thing you're going to want to know on your Geo Galleries is how to see your sales as they're going. Again, you can do this either by logging in onto your Geo Gallery side where you have your Geo Galleries as your dashboard. And again, that logo will change up there. Or from your Finer Works, go to the Geo Galleries drop down here on the left. You can hit My Sales. And you'll go ahead here and you'll start to see whenever your sales come in here, and you will see the date it was ordered and the day you were paid out. So this is the date it should be hitting your PayPal. 30 days from that order date is when you should be getting paid. This lets you get your buyer's information. Now it's going to say pending until a label is created at Finer Works. So sometimes that can take that, 1 to 3 or 7 days, depending if it's a frame, to populate here. You'll have your collector's name, their address, and their email. And this is all great information to start kind of collecting and getting, so that you have your emails of your collectors so that you can add them on to your own newsletter. And creating a newsletter using MailChimp or something like that is great because you can always announce something new to your collection. You can go ahead and let people know when you're going to be doing a pop-up live, but you're able to kind of own the information for your own collector base. And it's one of the great features too of having Geo Galleries. It's just like you would for your Shopify or Etsy. You're going to be able to get that customer information base. And unlike a real gallery where you leave your prints, and they don't share who your collectors are or your buyers are, you have that information. So that will show you where you do with your My Sales. And then again, any questions that you ever have on these, just reach out to us using the Contact Us. And can't wait for you to have this page populate for you. Now, with Geo Galleries, there is no phone support technical help for you on doing it. You're stuck with me, unfortunately. And we work through the Contact Us. You can do this right here. And I'm here Monday through Thursdays. And Central Time, we open up at 9 a.m. Hit that Contact Us, and you just put in the subject, let me go ahead and hit Contact Us. There, hit Contact Us, your name, your email. You don't have to put an order number, obviously. The subject, I would just put, Geo Gallery Help, and then write your message. Because if you put something Geo Gallery Help, then when customer service at Finer Works gets it, they'll just go ahead and send that to me. Or you can put Geo Galleries, site help or something. If you are having issues with the screen, go ahead, take some screenshots and just attach them here. That'll help me understand what issue you're having. So that's going to be part of the technical support. The other technical support that we offer is a private Facebook group, and it's for the sellers on Geo Galleries. And I do a live stream right now we're at every Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Central to 3 p.m. Central. And you can join either through Zoom or you can join through Facebook through the live chat if you don't want to be, have your voice on camera. You can always have your camera off when you're on the Zoom call. But I like it because I'm able to share my screen here with you just as we're doing with this, and I can walk you through some of those issues on how to fix it. Because I think a lot of us are visual learners, and I think that's usually the best way to communicate um, how to resolve the problem on the site. Note that the site, it's like anything, it's a learning curve. It was just like you didn't wake up one day and learn all of a sudden how to paint. There might be some of you who probably did, but the majority of us, it took time to develop the skill. This is going to take you a little time to develop it and get to know. It's just like learning to drive. You're going to have to practice a bit. And then with this is something you're not going to touch all the time. So that's why we're going to have this video on your final works. You'll just go up at the top again under fulfillment and scroll down, go to Geo Galleries, learn more. We have a lot of the frequently asked questions. This video is going to replace this older video here. And that's going to help you with a lot of your stuff. This is like the best source right now for you to have, because a lot of the questions are, you can ask any of the artists who have been with us since the start, that are on the Facebook group. The questions do get redundant after a while. You learn it. The only time you probably will come back once you have this down is if there's an update causing you an issue, or you just haven't had time to learn the new workaround on whatever the update is. So that's what we can offer you in the technical help area. Calling Finer Works customer support, they will not be able to assist you with Geo Galleries. They are not trained on this platform. um, and any issues you're having with that, you want to go ahead and direct to me. If you do on the group, sometimes I will make myself available during the weekends to help some things if I see something weird popping up. Um, but go ahead and just kind of note where your resources are for help on here. And I think after you get used to GeoGalleries, you're going to find it really works for you. It's another source of income. So with that, if you have any questions, just send it to customer care at Finer Works, and you can either direct it to me at Melissa, and I will be glad to assist you with that. And any questions, you can always leave them also on our YouTube or on the group. So I hope this helps you guys, and I wish you much success on your Geo Galleries.